Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Security Solutions TV, where we discuss innovative solutions to modern security challenges with some of the leading thinkers and practitioners in the field of security innovation. Our guest today is Kevin Diep. In addition to being a business unit manager for software and innovations at Mettler Toledo International, Kevin is an experienced software development and hardware solutions manager with a demonstrated history of working in the electrical and electronic manufacturing industry. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
So, Kevin, can you tell me a little bit about your company and your professional background?
I've worked at Mettler Toledo. As Mettler Toledo, we provide measuring solutions across our customers' value chain. We offer precision instruments, services, and many applications. So these being in research, we have development, quality control, production, logistics, and retail. And we serve our global customers with a strong team of 5,000 sales and service specialists, and this is globally. And this is pretty much one of the largest networks in our industry. My role at Mettler Toledo in ANZ is the business area manager, as you mentioned before, software innovations. And this is where we add value to the already innovative solutions through Mettler Toledo, but we build on top of that. And my background is electronics engineering and computer science.
So I wanted to talk to you today about some of the innovative solutions that you've implemented, specifically for high noise environments, where there was a need for a clear and concise communication, but it wasn't necessarily possible in the area you were in. Can you tell me a bit about the client you're working for in this area and what their major challenge was?
As my department, we actually deal with a lot of industrial client base. So the client that we're talking about here is actually a large retailer within the distribution and warehouse and throughout Australia. And pretty much they do a lot of transport logistics. And as you can imagine, down at the weighbridge or the truck scale, where the vehicle is, it's typically a very noisy environment. And also it's out in the open. So there's actually quite a lot of outside disturbances and noises that is actually often very difficult to filter out, and therefore not allowing a very clear, concise message between point to point, which could cause a lot of situations with inefficiencies and loss of messaging and communications between point to point.
That's great, and obviously that would produce a whole range of issues. Can you tell me a little bit about how the noise and the communication side of things was impacting your client on a day-to-day basis?
So as you can imagine, with the distribution side, often you have an entry and an exit point where vehicles actually come into the site to either pick up or drop off their wares. And also then the same goes through with the exit, where they're actually now trying to exit the site. So typically these sites are actually quite secure and controlled in order not to allow just normal traffic to get through. So at the points of entry and exit, there's often boom gates and security gates that actually stop external vehicles from coming in. So if you can imagine, if communications wasn't done right, or the messaging between the gate and the security guard house or within the warehouse was actually not clear, then the trucks could actually get stuck prior to entering site and could actually cause a bank up outside of the main street, which could cause traffic jams. So not only is it safety, but also efficiency, and just the means to actually get the big trucks in and out of their site.
So then how did you sort of go about discussing this challenge with the client and finding the right solution?
And normally within the way that we actually discuss with our clients is we approach the customers just to give them an awareness of what equipment is out there. And particularly in this particular case, when we were talking to the customer, it was actually quite just before COVID had hit. So they were talking about the ways to actually not minimize having people, standing face to face, side by side talking. And that's typically without an intercom system. They would be talking very close proximity. And so once COVID actually hit, we had a very good justification to the customer to say, hey, now you can actually split your roles of having the security guard inside in a safe environment, the driver outside in the vehicle in a safe environment, and you can actually have that communications through a clear and concise intercom system. And so that's what we actually did. We gave them the innovative justification. We went through the demonstration process to actually give them an idea of how it worked. And then from that, we basically quoted up many different sites and different options for them to actually consider, and eventually they actually came back to us to say, hey, this is what we want. And then we actually put that through, worked with Stendophon, Jonathan from Stendophon in this case, in order to actually get the right equipment installed to the right sites for the customer in order to actually manage the problem that they had initially.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about, you've mentioned Stendophon a couple of times. Can you tell me a little bit about the solution that you settled upon and why?
The main why is really the filtration and the noise capability. So as you can imagine, out on sites, it actually has quite a lot of difficulty in getting clear communications. Vehicle truck engines typically are very noisy, not only in the sound, but also in the noise that they actually generate for equipment that works in near proximity. So having the ability to actually have an intercom system where the driver can clearly state and discuss with the security or the warehouse was the reason why. And so from that point, pretty much that sold to the customer that if they had this ability and they were able to actually have the communications very clear and concise, they can actually get through their messaging between the driver and the gatehouse and the security guards the best practical way possible to actually speed the trucks going in and out of the sites.
Take me through the customer journey that your customers experience from contacting Mettler Toledo through to planning, installation, commissioning, and then handover.
We first had a demonstration from Jonathan because we literally called him on the spot as soon as we heard that the customer had this requirement. So we called Jonathan. Jonathan discussed with us the pros and cons on the phone, and especially around the noise cancellation technology for the specific intercoms that we're talking about. And then we had the opportunity, literally after the conversation with Jonathan, to call the customer to discuss with them, who was very interested in the solution. And we obviously from then provided a test system for them a couple of weeks later so they can run through some tests. And then after everyone was happy with the results, especially IT, because security was one thing, being able to connect up through their local area network or networks within the site was another. So IT was actually a main component. And then the customer having the results of having the driver talk to the guard through the intercom with noise cancellation and hearing the clarity pretty much won the customer over. So then we were able to actually quote. And from the quoting phase, the customer then gave us the information about which sites that we would to put them on, the entry and exit gates, of course, how many entry exit gates. So we provided that proposal. Once the customer was okay and signed off on it, we then got the order. And then from the order, we were able to actually work with Stendophon and Jonathan in order to get the equipment in. We had a couple of training sessions with Jonathan's team coming down to our Melbourne office here, providing us the training. And then once we actually got all that together, we took all the equipment, tested it in our own office here, making sure that it all worked. And then we actually took it to site to put in the installation as we rolled out other equipment for this particular customer, and then pretty much signed off on the solution. So they've been using it pretty much the last couple of years.
Can you give me an idea of maybe 3 different ways that the client has benefited as a result of having your solution in place?
So one of them being obviously safer, because now we don't have physically the guards walking up to the side of the vehicle or a truck. So as you can imagine, the trucks are like 2.5 meters above the ground. And often when the drivers aren't actually looking at them, they could run them over quite easily. So safer is one. Reliable. So they actually have now reliable communications between multiple points throughout the site. And that's never been the case before, especially when you have someone screaming at a driver within a truck. That's very hard to hear. And of course, having safe, reliable messaging means efficiency, and also the means of communications through multiple points as well. So that then allows it to drive the traffic, the entry, the exit points, and also reliably move these large vehicles in and out of the site as they require for them to drop off and pick up the wares throughout the distribution site.
So in closing, is it fair to say that, you know, with the application of some out-of-the-box thinking with some innovative solutions, you were able to come up with a solution to the customer's challenge that they were really happy with?
Certainly, and absolutely, you know, the credits go to Jonathan and his team at Stendophon. They keep coming to us with additional innovations where, you know, during COVID, people didn't really want to touch a button to press to initiate the intercom. He's got where they can actually just wave a hand across that actually initiates the call. And additional things like now we're actually controlling boom gates for this particular customer where it's also being done from the security guardhouse. So no one actually has to come out and physically press an RF button. So just additionally, after we've installed the intercoms, we've been able to get more innovation and also the abilities to continue to keep the customer site working as efficient as possible. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And if people want to find out more about you, where do they go?
Send me an email or, get on the phone. But certainly if you look for Mettler Toledo, we're literally out there in industry. If you don't look, you won't find, but if you do look, you'll actually see us everywhere. So yeah, get on the phone and we'll be able to talk.
And if people want to find out more about the Stenfone solution you recommended, where would they go for that?
They can go on the Stenfone sites. It's the TCIS3 model that we're talking about. And certainly it's worked for us, and I'm pretty sure that it'll work for others.
Well, Kevin, thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through that. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you want innovative solutions to modern security challenges, Security Solutions TV is your place to come. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box.